Hi, I'm Aaron, 33, and my sister has ruined every single birthday I've ever had. Every single one. Until last month, when I finally threw her a party she'll never forget at the same restaurant where her husband takes his mistress. Before you decide I'm a monster, you need to understand something. I'm not a vindictive guy. I work in IT, I recycle, I water my neighbors' plants when they're out of town. But there's only so many birthdays you can watch burn before something in you flips like a breaker. Mine snapped the day I found out about her husband. Her name's Vanessa. She's 3 years older, and ever since we were kids, she's been the shining one. Pretty, charming, loud enough to drown a marching band. The type of person who needs the spotlight like other people need oxygen. Me? I was the background noise. The backup singer who never got a mic. When I was 7, I was obsessed with dinosaurs. Mom planned a whole Jurassic Park party, costumes, decorations, the cake with the edible volcano. Vanessa locked herself in the bathroom half an hour before the guests arrived, screaming that her appendix was bursting. We spent my birthday in the ER, where nothing was wrong. At 10, she told my classmates I had fleas. At 13, she accidentally announced she was pregnant during dinner the night before my party. At 16, she turned up at the hall I'd rented with money from mowing lawns and got engaged to her boyfriend in the middle of my celebration. Every year, she found a way to make the day hers. By 25, I stopped celebrating altogether. The idea of balloons gave me hives. But then last year, when I saw her husband, Marcus, at a downtown coffee shop kissing someone who definitely wasn't Vanessa, all that quiet resentment turned into something surgical. Not rage, precision. I watched, filmed, followed, verified. And for once I had leverage. I told myself I'd sleep on it. Instead, I stayed up all night plotting the most poetic kind of justice I could imagine. Marcus was the kind of man who gave good first impressions, tall, charming, salesman smile, dentist by trade. He'd been with Vanessa for 12 years, long enough for him to perfect the supportive husband act. They had a 15-year-old daughter, Emma, who somehow turned out humble and sweet despite being raised by the human embodiment of a spotlight. The morning I caught him, I'd just finished a client meeting downtown. I stopped for coffee, turned around in line, and there he was, laughing over a muffin with a woman who wasn't my sister. The kind of laugh you don't share with coworkers. The kind that makes your shoulders lean closer than gravity allows. I followed them outside, phone low. They kissed. Then they left together. My heart didn't pound, it hummed. Every nerve steady. I watched them get into his car, trail off to a boutique hotel near the highway, and vanish through the glass doors. When they came out 3 hours later, she was adjusting her blouse and he was smiling like he just won the lottery. I filmed that too. That night, I sat in my apartment, the evidence looping on my screen. There was a version of me, the old, quiet version who wanted to forward everything to Vanessa anonymously. But the louder voice, the one that remembered the emergency room birthday, the fake pregnancy, the stolen parties, said, no. Make it count. So I hired a private investigator. His name was Robert. Mid-50s, ex-cop, the kind of guy who called everyone Chief. He flipped through my photos, nodded once, and said, You already have enough to ruin this guy's life. What else you want? Everything. I said. Who she is, how long it's been going on, where they meet, what nights, what lies he tells. He raised an eyebrow. You sure you want to see all that? I'm sure. 2 weeks and $800 later, Robert handed me a report thicker than a Bible. Marcus and his mistress Jennifer had been meeting twice a week for 8 months, always on Tuesdays and Thursdays, always at the same place, Bissimo, an Italian restaurant on the water. The name hit me like a matchstick. Vanessa's birthday was on a Thursday. And that's when the plan took shape. Cruel, brilliant, impossible to undo. I wasn't going to tell Vanessa. I was going to show her. Right there, at her birthday dinner. At the exact restaurant where Marcus took his mistress every week at 7 o'clock. The next morning, I called Bissimo. The manager, Antonio, answered with a thick Italian accent and the kind of warmth that makes you feel guilty about your intentions. Good evening, Bissimo, Antonio speaking. Hi, Antonio. I said. I'd like to book a surprise birthday party for my sister. Thursday night. 7 p.m. Table for 20. Center of the dining room somewhere everyone can see. There was a pause. That's our busiest hour, my friend. Perhaps 6:30 or 8 would be better? It has to be 7. I said. That's when the surprise works best. He chuckled. Romantic. We'll make it perfect. If only he knew. Over the next week, I assembled the guest list: our parents, her friends, Marcus's brother and wife, co-workers, even Emma. 20 people who all thought I'd finally forgiven Vanessa enough to celebrate her. I made decorations: gold balloons, a banner, flowers. I ordered a cake with "Happy Birthday, Vanessa" written in silver script. Every detail was genuine except the motive. The day came. I dressed like I was heading to war in a navy suit and steady nerves. At 6:15, I arrived early. Antonio met me at the door, cheerful as ever. "Your table, signore, it's beautiful." He was right. It sat in the center of the restaurant like a stage. Candles flickered, champagne chilled, the banner glittered against the wall. Perfect. I thanked him, pretending not to feel the weight of what was about to happen. By 6:45, everyone had arrived: Mom in pearls, Dad in his stiff collar, Vanessa's friends whispering and laughing. All smiles, all warmth. None of them knowing they were extras in a live betrayal. At 6:55, I texted Vanessa. "Running 5 minutes late. Go inside, ask for the reservation under my name." She replied instantly. "Okay, but hurry. Marcus says he's coming from work." Of course he was. Work. 2 minutes later, she walked in black dress, red lipstick, the kind of confidence that fills a room. Everyone started singing before she even reached the table. "Happy birthday to you!" She beamed, soaking it in. Hugged Mom, kissed Dad, turned to me. "Aaron, you did all this?" "Yeah," I said, smiling. "Happy birthday." Then the door opened. Marcus walked in, still in his suit, still charming, only this time, Jennifer was with him. Her hand in his, her smile unguarded, her red dress unmistakable. It took exactly 3 seconds for the restaurant to go silent, and for Vanessa's world to start burning. Vanessa didn't see them at first. She was too busy waving, basking, doing that laugh that sounds like she's auditioning for applause. But everyone else saw. Every single person at that table froze mid-smile. Mom's grin turned to stone. Dad's fork clinked against his plate. Emma stopped clapping halfway through. "Happy birthday!" Even Antonio, across the room, sensed the drop in temperature. Marcus spotted us before she turned. His face went sheet white, eyes wide like he'd walked into an electric fence. He tried to yank his hand free from Jennifer's, but it was too late. She was looking around, confused, oblivious, until her gaze followed his and landed on my sister. Vanessa turned. The air snapped like glass. Her smile flickered, then vanished. "Marcus?" she said, her voice uncertain, almost childish. "What are you doing here?" The restaurant had gone so quiet you could hear the waves outside. Marcus opened his mouth, closed it. His jaw twitched. "Vanessa, this isn't..." And then Jennifer spoke. "Wait. Who's she?" I stood up. "His wife," I said loud enough for the entire room to hear. 12 years married. And that, I pointed to Emma, who was staring at her father like she didn't know him. "Is their daughter?" A collective gasp rippled through the room. Jennifer took a step back. "You're married?" she hissed. "You said you were divorced?" "You said?" Marcus's voice cracked. "It's complicated." "It's not complicated," Vanessa said, shaking. "It's my birthday. You're here with her. That's not complicated. That's betrayal." The waiters froze mid-service. Phones came out. People were already recording. Bissimo had turned into a stage, and my sister was center frame. "Baby, please." Marcus tried. "Let's talk at home." "Don't call me baby." Vanessa snapped. "Talk now." Jennifer spun on him. "You lied to me, Marcus. You said there was no wife. No kid." "I didn't say." Vanessa cut him off, her voice rising, trembling but fierce. "How long?" He didn't answer. "How long?" she screamed. 8 months. I said. Calm. Flat. Truth landing like a hammer. The room collectively exhaled. Vanessa's face crumpled. Marcus stammered. Jennifer backed toward the door. Emma's chair screeched as she stood up and whispered, "Dad?" and then burst into tears. The whole thing was chaos and silence at once. Beautiful, terrible symmetry. For the first time in my life, Vanessa's birthday wasn't perfect, it was mine. And it was about to get so much worse. Vanessa stumbled back a step like she'd been hit. Her hands went to her face, shaking, mascara streaking down her cheeks. 8 months? She repeated, barely a whisper. 8 months, Marcus? Every Tuesday, every Thursday, those nights you said you had late clients? Marcus took a step toward her, palms up. Vanessa, please. Not here. Not in front of everyone. She laughed, a sharp, broken sound that made the hair on my arms rise. Oh, now you care about an audience? Jennifer had gone pale. I didn't know, she said quietly, voice trembling. I swear I didn't know he was married. Vanessa turned to her. You didn't think it was weird he could only see you twice a week? That you never met his friends, his family? That he never spent a single weekend with you? Jennifer's eyes filled with tears. He told me you were crazy. That you cheated on him. That your marriage was over. Classic, I muttered. I didn't mean for it to be out loud, but it was. Marcus shot me a look that could have cut steel. Stay out of this, Aaron. Out of this? I said, stepping forward. You made me part of it the second you started sneaking around like a high school kid with a fake ID. Aaron, please, Mom whispered, voice shaking. But Vanessa was past the point of soft voices. No, let him talk, she said. For once, let someone else have the floor at my expense. The entire restaurant was still watching. Phones up. Strangers pretending to sip wine while capturing the slow collapse of a marriage in high definition. Marcus turned back to Vanessa, desperate now. I love you. It was a mistake. You love me? She stepped closer until they were nearly nose to nose. You love me, so you bring your mistress to my birthday dinner? You love me, so you let our daughter watch you humiliate me in front of everyone? Emma's sobs broke through the silence. Mom, please stop. Vanessa turned, immediately softening. Sweetheart, I'm so sorry. Emma's voice cracked. I don't understand. Why would he do this? Vanessa looked at Marcus. Why don't you answer her, Marcus? Tell your daughter why she has to see her father like this. Marcus couldn't even look at her. I don't know, he whispered. Wrong answer, Vanessa said. She grabbed her wine glass, threw it against the wall. It shattered like a gunshot. Someone gasped. Jennifer backed farther away, voice breaking. I'm leaving. I can't, this is too much. Vanessa's eyes snapped to her. Run. Run away like you did from my husband's apartment. But don't you dare say you didn't know. You knew enough. I didn't, Jennifer yelled back, shaking. He told me he was divorced. He told me he lived alone. Then maybe next time you check the ring finger. Vanessa spat. I could feel the restaurant staff frozen in place. Antonio whispered something to a waiter, probably wondering whether to call security or sell tickets. Marcus finally shouted. Enough. Everyone stop. This isn't helping. Vanessa's face twisted. Helping? You think there's something left to help? He tried to reach for her, but she stepped back. Don't touch me. Don't you dare. He turned to me then, eyes full of fury. You planned this, didn't you? Yes, I said simply. Happy birthday. That silenced even the background chatter. For a few seconds there was nothing but the sound of Vanessa's breathing, ragged, raw. You knew, she said, staring at me. You knew about all this. I did. And you waited until tonight? I wanted you to see it for yourself, I said quietly. The way I've seen you take everything that was supposed to be mine. Every party. Every ounce of attention. Every scrap of love our parents tried to give me. You ruined every birthday I ever had. I ruined yours. We're even. Her face went from grief to disbelief to horror. You did this to punish me? I swallowed hard. Yes. Dad stood up. Aaron, that's enough. No, Dad, Vanessa said through tears, her voice shaking. Let him finish. He wants his moment, let him have it. I didn't make Marcus cheat, I said. He did that all on his own. I just made sure you found out the way I always did, publicly, painfully, with everyone watching. Mom gasped, whispering my name like it was a prayer for sanity. Vanessa stared at me for a long moment, and I'll never forget what she said next. Congratulations, she said softly. You finally got your spotlight. Then she collapsed. Literally. Her knees gave out. Dad caught her before she hit the floor. Emma screamed. The cameras kept rolling. And I stood there, realizing that for all the satisfaction I thought I'd feel, all I really felt was sick. Because in that moment, I didn't just destroy her birthday. I destroyed us. The restaurant staff helped move us into a private room, away from the phones and whispers and people pretending not to record. Antonio apologized over and over, even though he'd done nothing wrong. So sorry, signore, we did not know. It's not your fault, I said. You couldn't have. Vanessa sat at the head of the new table, slumped, silent, her face streaked with makeup and salt. Mom sat beside her, rubbing her back. Emma clung to her other arm, whispering, "It's okay, Mom." Even though she was crying too. Dad was pacing like a caged bear. And I just stood there, hands shaking, heart pounding with the kind of guilt that feels like nausea. Then Mom turned to me. "Aaron," she said quietly, "how did you know he'd be here? Why this restaurant? Why tonight?" The question hit like a nail to the chest. Everyone froze. Even Vanessa lifted her head. I could have lied. I could have said coincidence. Could have said I booked it randomly. Could have said I didn't know. But I was tired of lying to her, to myself. "I knew," I said. The words dropped like a bomb. "You knew?" Mom said. "You knew Marcus was cheating and you didn't tell your sister?" "I found out weeks ago," I said. "I hired a private investigator. I knew everything, the nights, the woman, the hotel, everything. And I planned this dinner so she'd see it herself." "Oh my God!" Mom whispered, covering her mouth. Dad stopped pacing. "You mean to tell me this whole night this disaster was your doing?" "Yes." Vanessa's voice came out hoarse. "You knew my husband was cheating, and you waited until my birthday to show me?" I nodded, staring at the floor. "Why?" she whispered. "Because you ruined every single one of mine." Silence. Then a sound half laugh, half sob from Vanessa. "You ruined my marriage because I ruined your birthdays?" "It wasn't just birthdays," I snapped. "It was everything. Every moment that was supposed to be mine you stole. When I was 7, you faked being sick. When I was 10, you told people I had lice. At 16, you proposed to Marcus at my party. You made every celebration about you. Every single one. So yeah, I made this one about you too." Dad slammed his hand against the wall. "Aaron, you've lost your damn mind." "No, Dad," I said, voice shaking but clear. "I finally found it." Mom started crying. "This isn't you," she said. "You're kind, you're careful. What happened to you?" "What happened?" I said. "Is that I spent 30 years being invisible. 30 years watching her take everything I was supposed to have: attention, love, respect, and pretend it was her birthright." Vanessa stared at me through swollen eyes. "And that justifies this? Public humiliation? Traumatizing Emma? Ruining a family in front of 50 strangers?" My throat tightened. "He did that, not me." "No," she said, her voice rising again. "You chose this. You could have told me privately, given me a chance to handle it quietly. You wanted a scene. You wanted a crowd. You wanted revenge." I didn't answer. Because she was right. Emma's voice cracked through the silence. "You hurt us," she said. "You hurt my mom, my dad, me. Everyone at school's going to see this." "I didn't mean to hurt you," I said. "I was angry. You were selfish." She cut in, her small voice trembling but fierce. "You wanted to win." And that hit harder than any accusation. Because she was right too. Mom looked at me like she didn't recognize me. "You need to leave," she said quietly. "Mom." "Now, Aaron." I glanced at Vanessa one last time. Her eyes were empty. So I left. Outside, the night was cold, and I could still hear the waves crashing against the docks. I walked to my car, hands trembling, chest tight, stomach hollow. I'd wanted her to feel what I felt all those years: humiliation, invisibility, pain, but seeing her collapse in that chair, seeing Emma cry like that. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt sick. I drove for hours that night, no destination, just headlights and regret. My phone buzzed endlessly: texts from Mom, missed calls from Dad, a dozen messages from unknown numbers that probably weren't strangers anymore. By the time I finally parked outside my apartment, the video was already online. Millions of views. Millions of opinions. Half called me a hero. Half called me a monster. And the truth was, I wasn't sure which one was right. The video spread faster than I could blink. By morning, my phone was melting down. Clips of Vanessa screaming, Marcus stammering, Jennifer running out, all edited, subtitled, memed. "Birthday blow up at Bissimo" was trending. My sister's heartbreak had become entertainment. And I was the director. I didn't go to work. Didn't eat. I sat on my couch watching my phone vibrate like it was alive. The comments split the world in half. "Legendary brother." Karma served piping hot. Psychopath. You destroyed a family for clout. People argued like we were fictional characters. Some called me brave. Others said I should be arrested. Every opinion stung, even the ones that agreed with me. Around noon there was a knock. I thought it was a reporter. It was Vanessa. Still in the same black dress, makeup streaked, eyes hollow. She looked smaller, like the air had gone out of her. "Can I come in?" she asked. I nodded. She sat on my couch and stared at the floor. "I left him," she said finally. "Marcus packed his things, told him not to come back." I didn't know what to say. "The video has millions of views," she continued. "People from high school are messaging me. Strangers are sending hate. There are memes of my face, Aaron. Memes. I can't even open my phone." "I'm sorry," I whispered. She looked up, eyes glassy but sharp. "Are you sorry it happened? Or sorry everyone saw it?" That cut deep. "Both," I said. "I didn't think it would go viral." "You didn't think?" She laughed once, bitter. "You filmed a live grenade and handed it to the internet. Of course it went viral." We sat in silence. The only sound was her breathing. "I was awful to you," she said at last. "Every birthday, every chance I got. I know that. I told myself it didn't matter, that you didn't care. But you did. And now I know what it feels like." "What?" I asked. "To be humiliated. To have everyone staring. To realize the person you trusted the most wanted you to hurt." I wanted to defend myself. Instead, I just said, "I never wanted it to go this far." "Yeah," she murmured. "Neither did I, 30 years ago." She stood. "I'll fix what I can. But I don't know if I can ever forgive you." Then she left. And for the first time since childhood, I cried so hard it hurt to breathe. Weeks passed before anyone in the family spoke to me again. Mom sent a text that said, "Family dinner. 6 o'clock. No excuses." I almost didn't go, but guilt has a way of dragging you where pride refuses. When I walked in, the air was heavy. Vanessa sat at the table, pale but composed. Emma beside her, arms folded. Dad stared at me like I was a patient he didn't know how to fix. Mom broke the silence first. "Aaron, what you did was cruel," she said. "But we also failed you. We let Vanessa take too much space for too long, and we let you disappear." That hit harder than any lecture. But then Dad added, "Understanding doesn't erase consequences. Emma's in therapy now. She wakes up crying. Kids at school show her the video." Emma wouldn't look at me. Her voice was small. "You turned our lives into a show. Everyone knows. Everyone talks. You ruined my mom's birthday, but you also ruined my dad for me." "I'm sorry," I said quietly. "If I could take it back." "You can't," she said. "So maybe don't say sorry. Just be better." There was nothing left to argue. I nodded. "I will." Mom took a breath. "We're not cutting you out, Aaron. But Vanessa and Emma need space. No visits unless invited. No grand gestures. You start therapy. You learn to deal with anger like an adult." "I already started," I said. "I've been going twice a week." That seemed to soften her a little. Dad leaned forward. "Then fix yourself before you try fixing anyone else." Dinner was quiet after that. Forks scraping. The occasional sigh. But when we finished, Vanessa stood, motioned me to follow her outside. We stood in the driveway under the porch light, the same glow that used to spill on birthday presents and melting cake. She folded her arms. "I meant what I said that night," she began. "I can't forgive you." "Not yet. Maybe not ever." I nodded. "I get it. But," she said, her voice softer, "I also understand you now. You didn't do it because you hate me. You did it because you've been screaming for someone to see you your whole life. I just never listened. I wanted you to understand," I said. "Not to destroy you. But that's what I did anyway." "Yeah," she whispered. "You did." She hesitated. "Marcus and I are finalizing the divorce. He's fighting for custody, for the house, for anything he can still control. Emma hates him, but she has to see him. It's messy. But at least it's honest now." I swallowed. "I'm sorry for how you found out." She nodded slowly. "I know. But I'm weirdly grateful too. You tore my life apart, but you also tore off the lie holding it together. We stood there a long time, no yelling this time, no noise. Just two tired people finally out of ammunition. A year passed. Vanessa finalized the divorce. Emma started smiling again. The video slowly faded from headlines to memory. People moved on. The internet always does. Last month was my birthday. Vanessa showed up with pizza, wine, and a cake that said it's your day. We ate, watched bad movies, laughed awkward real. As they left, Vanessa said, "You finally got your birthday." "Yeah," I said. "And I didn't have to ruin anyone else's to get it." When the door closed, I realized something simple. Revenge gives you a moment. Remorse gives you the rest of your life. For the first time ever, that was enough.